Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Beninin, and for today's video we're going to be talking about the Innisfree Daily UV Defense Sunscreen. This is a broad spectrum SPF 36. It is 1.69 fluid ounces or 50 milliliters. I picked it up from Sephora. At the time it was retailing for $15. So the active ingredients in here are avobenzone 2.5%, homosalate 7%, and octisalate 4.3%. They claim that this is a water-based sunscreen with sunflower seed oil that effectively protects against UV rays while delivering a refreshing, dewy glow. So this is their chemical sunscreen. In the last video where I covered all of the really bad sunscreens I've tried lately that left me with a really bad white cast, I had mentioned their matte finish sunscreen, and I believe that one was, I can't remember if it was a mineral or like a combo, but it had some mineral filters in there and it left me with a very extreme white cast, one of the worst ones I've had in a long time. But I also picked up their chemical formula, so that's what we're talking about today. So I won't really be worrying about a white cast with this, so we'll really just be talking about like the actual formula, how it feels on my face, is it causing me any reactions, acne, all of that stuff. So as always, I wore this on bare skin. I also wore it with a moisturizer to see if there's really a difference there, and then I lastly wore it with makeup, and I'll be inserting clips of me wearing it in my bathroom lighting and in my window lighting so you can kind of see what the finish looks like as I talk. So I put it on bare skin and I rubbed it all over, just kind of slathered it on. And as you guys will see, there's no white cast, which I did not expect that at all, so that's good. And I'd say that the actual finish of it, they do say that it's like a dewy glow, and you do get that when you put it on initially, but as you'll see, after you wait for about 15 minutes, it actually dries down to more of like a, what I would consider like a normal, natural finish. This sunscreen doesn't really have a fragrance in my opinion. It kind of just smells like sunscreen and maybe like a very, very light perfume. I don't really know what I'm smelling in here. Maybe it's the sunflower oil. Does sunflower oil have a smell? I don't know. It just smells like a light perfume sunscreen. It's not like overwhelming in your face, and it does dissipate the longer you wear it. So I went ahead and I wore it for 2 hours, and this is what it's looking like. So I did like how this looked after 2 hours. I didn't turn into like a grease bomb, which I appreciated. And then I went ahead and reapplied, and I usually blot between my first application and reapplication, but in this scenario, since I wasn't really oily, I didn't go ahead and blot, but I just went ahead and reapplied again. And with reapplication, I feel like it was slightly heavier this time. The first wear is very light. You really don't feel like you have much on your face. It's just a nice light finish to it. But when you reapply, obviously it feels a little bit heavier than I would like. And I personally felt like it felt a little bit greasier. Just a slightly little bit. It wasn't like really bad though. The next day I wore it with a moisturizer, and I did not like how this felt with the moisturizer. I feel like it's moisturizing enough by itself, and even if you have dry skin, I feel like it's going to be moisturizing enough. So for my oily skin, I felt like it was just too much to have a moisturizer and then have the sunscreen on top of it. It felt a little bit heavier than I would like, and I feel like the finish in this case looked a little bit more glowy than it did on day one. And after the 2 hours, unlike day one, I felt like I did look a little bit shinier, so definitely would not recommend if you have oily skin to wear this with the moisturizer and put it on top. This can serve as your moisturizer. So I went ahead and blotted this time and reapplied, and again, reapplication slightly heavier than it did with the first application, but overall I felt like the finish was fine. So if you are looking for like a natural finish on your first application, this is it, but it does leave you with more of a dewy finish by your second or third reapplication, which I guess is kind of expected. And then lastly, I wore it with makeup, and I think it wears fine with makeup. I feel like it's not too heavy, so I was able to put makeup on top of it just fine and powder away like I like. And I didn't experience any pilling, no breakup, nothing like that, solo or with makeup, so that's also good. and then after 2 hours wearing it with makeup, this is what it's looking like. Again, I'm slightly glowy in my T-zone, which is expected for me, but everywhere else I felt fine. So yeah, that's how it wore with makeup. This is gonna be a pretty quick review because I don't have a whole lot to say about this, but I'll give you my overall thoughts. If you have deeper complexion, you're not gonna have any trouble wearing this with makeup or without makeup because it doesn't leave you a white cast. The finish is a more natural finish in my opinion, and then reapplication kind of becomes a little bit more dewy, although they claim that it is straight up glowy dewy. So if you have oily skin like myself, I think you can get away with wearing it because it wasn't like super dewy like I thought it would be. Came off more natural, and even after the 2 hours, the finish looked fine in my opinion. If you have dry skin, I think this can still work as your moisturizer. I really don't think you need to layer it with the moisturizer and then the sunscreen on top. This can serve as both, and it served as both for me, and I felt like it was moisturizing enough. So I could see this working for a lot of different skin types, and not my favorite as far as reapplication. I just felt that it felt a little bit heavier and it came off a little bit more glowy with reapplication. So if I were to continue to use the sunscreen, I would use a different method of reapplication just to get the finish that I want, or I would go ahead and powder or blot a little bit after reapplication. If you have acne prone skin, I have mixed feelings about this because I felt like it was causing me some breakouts. As you guys will see, I have a really big pimple on my chin, and I think I ended up with one on my cheek by the end of it. Actually, I ended up with like 3 of them. And I don't know if it's necessarily the sunscreen or it's just like my cycle is causing me to break out. So I will update you guys in the comment section after using it for a couple more days. I actually stopped, paused, and then I'm gonna go back and use it again to see if I get breakouts again. So I'll let you guys know if I experience any breakouts with that. I'm iffy to say that it's like safe for people with acne prone skin because I had breakouts, but it's hard to say if it was from the sunscreen specifically at this point. So I'll give you an update down in the comment section. And then for my people with sensitive skin, I didn't experience any burning, itching, irritation, or anything like that. It was really just the acne breakouts, and I did have like the little bumps as well, but not really any irritation as far as like sensitivity reactions or anything. Lastly, if you're someone who likes to wear makeup with your sunscreen, this worked out fine for me. I didn't experience any breakup with my makeup or anything like that. It went on nicely, it sat nicely, and after the 2 hours, I really liked how it looked. So 2 thumbs up for wearing it with makeup. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts. I really feel like this was a pretty decent sunscreen, and I didn't expect to like it, especially after not really liking the matte version, but this was okay. I feel like if you want like a daily sunscreen to just wear every time you wash your face and wake up in the morning, this is definitely one that would work. I had an okay experience with it. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, but I would definitely like finish the rest of it. If you guys have tried the Innisfree Daily UV Defense Sunscreen, let me know if you loved it. Let me know if you hated it. Also let me know if you were like in the middle, kind of like me, where you didn't love it, but you didn't like hate it and you just think it's like okay. Also let me know, and as always, don't forget to leave your sunscreen recommendations down in the comment section below, and I'll be seeing you guys all in the next one. Bye. Oh, somebody's calling me. Bye.